So the real bosses have now weighed in on Joe Biden's VP pick. And when I say the real bosses, I mean the moneyed interests, I mean Wall Street, I mean the people with the capital who have all the power. So CNBC says Wall Street executives are glad Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris to be his VP running mate. Wall Street leaders on Tuesday cheered Joe Biden's selection of Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate in the presidential election. Finance executives, confident the ticket has what it takes to topple President Donald Trump, raved about her experience in government as well as her fundraising prowess. Financial advisory firm Sigmund Global is already telling its clients that the choice of Harris reinforces the notion that the Democratic ticket is more moderate than progressive. See, now this is why the left is not happy with the decision of Kamala Harris. This is why. Because Wall Street is happy with it. And our interests are at odds with their interests. And their interests are at odds with working people's interests. So, I'm telling you, man, the decision that was made, they genuinely think, okay, we're going to pick Kamala Harris because the establishment loves her. And the establishment always wins. They're the ones who really control politics. But the fact that she's a black woman is enough to tell the left, know your place. This would be historic. It would be a female black VP who might even become president. So that'd be historic. Are you going to oppose that history? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to be against that history. You're going to be against the first female black vice president and potentially president? Seems kind of bigoted to me. If you're against that, it seems kind of bigoted. Now, you might look at that and be like, well, that's absurd. Like, they're stretching to make such an argument because you could object to her on substantive grounds. No, but they will literally, like, I've already seen it all over the place. They're already making this argument. This is going to be the argument. That if you're criticizing her, obviously, especially if you're a white man, it has to come from a place of racial animus or, like, gender issues. It has to. Now, it doesn't matter how much I'm very specific about here are the policies, here's why I'm not okay with it. It doesn't matter. They're just going to overlook that and be like, you're not actually critiquing her because the reason you say you're critiquing her because you're uncomfortable with the first female black vice president and potentially president. So just buckle up because that's exactly what's going to happen. And there will be no direct acknowledging of any of the facts that are laid out. And by the way, I suggest you read the whole article, the CNBC article, because it's wild to read it. It's so weird when you read through it and you see the way that these people view politics and the way that they discuss politics. They talk about how, like, well, now, because Kamala's the VP, now expect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to really have a fundraising haul from the moneyed interests that's going to have them top Trump and the Republicans. So they talk about how her fundraising prowess is one of the main reasons why she was picked. You know what that means? The donors love her. The big money donors love her. That's what that means. And, you know, person after person is praising this decision and basically saying, like, oh, Kamala's really pragmatic. She's very pragmatic about everything. So we know that this administration is not going to go too far left. What does too far left mean to them, by the way? Too far left to them means regulating them. Regulating Wall Street. Bringing back Glass-Steagall, for example. They wouldn't be okay with that because that cuts into their profits. That cuts into their ability to make money in the short term. Raising their taxes. That's another thing. Raising their taxes. They know if it's Biden and Kamala Harris, oh, thank God. It's not like Bernie's going to come in here and actually tax us and redistribute the wealth. It's not like somebody's going to go in there and actually be like a new FDR and redistribute. They know, oh, okay, thank God. It's going to be status quo, business as usual. Maybe we could get Trump out of there, who's a crazy person, and still continue to be served, but also have the fake professionals in charge, who at least can pretend to make it look like we're very serious people. Yes. So here we are, man. again, you go read that article and you'll see the exact reason why the left is like, oh no, it's Kamala. Because the donors really do love her, which says everything. Because what those donors want, that's at odds with what the American people want and what working people need. So, and then of course, we've gone over this before, but Kamala Harris refused to prosecute Steve Mnuchin, who's the Goldman Sachs lackey. This was back when he was the head of One West Bank, and he was doing mortgage fraud. He was illegally foreclosing on people and taking their houses from them, and some of them were senior citizens, and they were kicked out. This was during the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession. Her own office said you should prosecute him. She refused to prosecute him. Well, turns out she also took some campaign contributions from Steve Mnuchin and friends. And so, wow, I wonder why she didn't prosecute him. Yeah, it's really hard to figure out. She also famously laughed at legal marijuana, and that was not too long ago. That was either 2012 or 2014. That was very recently that she laughed at the idea of legalizing marijuana. She fought to keep some innocent people locked up. Even when there was evidence that somebody was innocent, she tried to keep somebody locked up on a technicality. That's a very famous story that blew up, especially during her presidential run. She even supports civil asset forfeiture, which is legalized robbery by cop. Hey, if you have a badge, it should be legal for you to take somebody's stuff and say, I don't know, I think you're maybe about to use that in a drug deal or something, so I'm going to confiscate it. This is who Kamala Harris is. This is who she is. So, isn't it crazy? After all this time, we feel like we're right back in the 2016 situation. Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine, and now it's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We hopped in a time machine, we're right back in 2016, and we have that sinking feeling. That feeling of like, ugh, all this time, all this work, and they still managed to outmaneuver us and jujitsu us. The establishment still won this round. We can't give up because giving up is not an option, but we do need to acknowledge the state of reality, and it ain't pretty.